Eminem accused his own mother of being a drug addict, abusive, and narcissistic. In his songs, he attacked her so brutally that she sued him for $10 million. And if that wasn't enough, she made a rap song fighting back against her own son, which obviously wasn't a good idea. He responded with the harshest song ever written by a son to his mother. Today we're going to reveal the story behind Cleaning Out My Closet by Eminem. I'm Guilherme, and you're watching DECIFRAHITS.
I'm sorry, Mama. I never meant to hurt you.
In Cleaning Out My Closet, Eminem threw in his mother's face everything he had stuck in his throat. Anyone who listens to this song and hears the story is surprised at how a relationship between mother and son could reach this point. But all of this has an explanation, and it's within the lyrics themselves. Just like the title says, Eminem emptied his closet by taking the skeletons from his past that haunted him and exposing all of it to the world. And already in the second verse, he takes you straight to the root of all his traumas.
I'll take you back to 73 before I ever had a
I'm going to take you back to 1973, long before I had a CD that sold millions of copies. I was just a baby, maybe only a few months old. My faggot father must have packed up all his panties. But you can already tell that Eminem's childhood was anything but easy. His father was 21 years old when he got Debbie Mathers, the rapper's mother, who was 17 pregnant. Extremely bohemian and aggressive, he beat Debbie after an argument and abandoned her along with Little Marshall Mathers III without even looking back.
I wonder if he even kissed me goodbye. No, I don't.
Because he left. I wonder if he even gave me a goodbye kiss. No, on second thought, I just wished he would die. From then on, the turbulent journey of Marshall's childhood began, being raised only by his mother, who suffered from constant mood swings and was addicted to prescription drugs.
Now, I would never diss my own mama just to get recognition.
I would never disrespect my own mother just to get recognition. Take a moment and pay attention to who this song is talking about. Put yourself in my shoes and try to imagine catching your mother abusing prescription drugs in the kitchen. Debbie's addiction was serious. Eminem even accused his mother of drugging him by putting Valium, a controlled medication known here as diazepam, in his food when he was a child. Valium was in everything. In the water I drank, in the food I ate, she put enough to season my steak. So every day I had at least 3 stomach aches. That's what the rapper sang in the song, My Mom. And when asked about it, Debbie always denied the accusations.
He said you were neglectful.
No.
Because of the popping. No.
According to Eminem, his mother did this because she had a serious psychological disorder. Always complaining that someone messed with her purse and that something was missing. Living off government programs, a victim of Munchausen syndrome. In this disorder, the person fakes or causes an illness or limitation in themselves, or someone else with the intention of getting attention or control of the situation. It's a real disorder, and when it's projected onto another person, like what happened with Eminem, it's called Munchausen syndrome by proxy. This kind of child abuse, unfortunately, is very common. In fact, there's an amazing movie about it that I recommend. Run, from 2020. If these problems weren't enough, his mother didn't have a steady job. Because of that, they had a lot of trouble paying rent. They moved from house to house until they were evicted. They even ended up living in a trailer. Because of this, Eminem had to change schools every 2 or 3 months. Never forming bonds or friendships, he ended up becoming shy and reclusive. Eventually, they settled in this house in Detroit, home to the famous 8 Mile Road, a predominantly black neighborhood where Eminem felt out of place because he was the only white kid. His only comfort was Ronnie, who, despite being his uncle, was only 2 months older than him. So, they grew up like brothers. At 11 years old, Ronnie introduced Eminem to something that would change his life forever: hip-hop. Eminem saw in that house a culture, an escape valve, and he gave himself body and soul, devouring the dictionary to improve his rhymes. By the age of 14, he was already skipping classes to take part in rap battles. He had already failed 9th grade 3 times because of absences, when his mother gave him an ultimatum. As soon as I turned 15, my mother told me, "Go get a damn job and help me with these bills, or you're out on the street." And then she kicked me out, even after I gave her most of my salary. When he was 15, 19 years ago, his uncle Ronnie unfortunately decided to leave this world. Ronnie's death deeply shook the rapper, and to make things worse, while arguing with Eminem over the phone, his mother ended up saying something horrible that scarred him forever. Remember when
Ronnie died and you said you wished it was me?
Lembra quando
died and you said you wished it had been me? Guess what? I'm dead. Dead to you. The weirdest part is that this isn't fiction. Debbie herself confirmed this in her 2008 autobiography, saying, "I hate to say this, but I'm tired of you. I screamed, I wished it had been you instead of Ronnie. I didn't mean it, I was upset. And I called Marshall right after. Son, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that." And he hung up on me. It's something I'll regret until the day I die. On Christmas of '95, Eminem's first daughter, Haley Jade, was born, the result of his tumultuous relationship with Kim Scott. Haley became Eminem's greatest passion, and he was willing to do anything to prevent her from experiencing the same traumas he went through. And that included not letting her mother get close to his daughter.
And Haley's getting so big now, you should see it, she's beautiful, but you'll never see.
Haley has grown so much, you should see how beautiful she is. But you'll never see her. She won't even be at your funeral. These words were also confirmed by Eminem's mother, who said that Kim Scott didn't want her near Haley. Kim made Haley believe that I'm the bad grandmother. She told me that that's the evil grandma. That broke my heart, said Debbie. Another name mentioned by Eminem in the song is Nathan. And
Nathan's growing up so quick, he's gonna know that you're phony.
Nathan is Eminem's younger half-brother, born in '86. Debbie lost custody of Nathan in '96 after social workers discovered that she beat him with a hairbrush and made up illnesses for him, dragging him through various doctors. And as we mentioned in the video about Mockingbird, Haley wasn't born with a silver spoon in her mouth. In '96, Eminem worked hard to feed his daughter, working during the week at a restaurant. He had already started his career as a rapper and even released his first album. But it flopped, and to make things worse, he was fired, evicted, and found himself forced to move back in with his mother in a trailer. Meanwhile, Haley stayed with Kim on the other side of the city. At that moment, Eminem had definitely hit rock bottom, which is also the name of the song he wrote during that time. But when you're at rock bottom, the only place you can go is up. And that's exactly what Eminem did. He gathered all his frustration, indignation, and anger, and created his alter ego Slim Shady, starting to write extremely heavy and controversial lyrics, exposing the darkest parts inside himself and inside every human being. Eventually, his talent was noticed by the greatest hip-hop producer in history, Dr. Dre, who, as a fun fact, appears in the music video for correcting a mistake in the recording of the song.
Where's my snare? There.
It turns out that Eminem wasn't hearing the beats in his headphones. According to him, the audio engineer had muted the beats, and that's why he complained.
I have no snare on my headphones. There you go. There you go.
But for some reason, your line sounded so cool that they decided to keep it in the song. With Dr. Dre's production, Eminem managed to climb out of rock bottom and dominate hip-hop across all social classes, from kids in the ghetto to upper-class teenage girls. From then on, many people who had never heard of rap had their first contact with the genre through the sharp and controversial lyrics of the young blonde guy from Detroit, which caused strong backlash and attempts at censorship cured.
Have you ever faced hatred or discrimination?
Have you ever been hated and discriminated against? I have. I was the target of protests and demonstrations. Eminem was heavily criticized because his lyrics were considered misogynistic, homophobic, and extremely violent. It got to the point where he was almost banned from entering Canada, and people protested against his performance alongside Elton John, who is openly homosexual, at the 2001 Grammy Awards. By the way, scenes from that protest also appear in the music video. The rapper was never shaken by the criticism, which seemed to motivate his anger even more to write heavier lyrics. But things started to get scary when he began releasing brutal and violent songs attacking his wife Kim and his own mother, Debbie Mathers. In several of his lyrics, he created true horror movies where his wife and mother were victims of the cruelest crimes the human mind could imagine. Things got so serious that in September 1999, his mother sued him for $10 million for defamation in his songs. The verse that motivated the lawsuit was from the song My Name Is, when he says 99% of my life I heard lies. I just found out that my mom uses more drugs than I do. I told her I was going to become a famous rapper and that I would make a song about drugs in her honor. According to Debbie, everything her son said about her was a lie. Something he made up to create a bad boy image and be accepted in the hip-hop community as a white rapper. She added that he was always a loving son and that she always loved and protected him a lot. And that maybe that's why he ended up being too spoiled.
He has to stop deceiving me. He has to stop charging me. I mean, you don't do that to your mother. And it's so hard.
As for Eminem, when asked about his reaction to the lawsuit, in public he didn't seem surprised. My mother is the queen of lawsuits. Her whole life she sued other people. That's how she makes money. When I was 5 years old, she worked as a cashier at a supermarket. Other than that, I don't remember seeing her work a single day in her life. Despite that seemingly controlled reaction in public, Debbie reported that when he found out about the lawsuit, Eminem called her, screaming furiously. He probably screamed what I consider to be the most devastating line of this song.
But how dare you try to take what you didn't help me to get, you selfish.
But how am I supposed to take away from myself what you didn't help me achieve? You selfish bitch. I hope you burn in fucking hell for this shit. About this verse, Debbie commented, "That's just artistic expression. He's just really sad inside. I know my son like the back of my hand," and she kept insisting that it was all a lie and that Eminem was just playing a character to sell more records. But for Eminem, nothing could be further from the truth. In June 2000, he went through one of the most intense moments of his career. Besides dealing with his mother's lawsuit, he had also been sued for gun possession, and to make matters worse, he heard rumors that his then-wife Kim was cheating on him with a nightclub security guard. Eminem grabbed his gun, went to the nightclub, caught Kim kissing the security guard in the parking lot, and went after him with everything he had.
The smartest shit I did was take the bullets out of that gun, 'cause I'd have killed.
The smartest thing I ever did was take the bullets out of that gun, because I would have killed them. Damn, I would have shot them both. The security guard was John Guerra from the Hot Rocks Cafe nightclub in Michigan. According to Kim, she was just saying goodbye to her friend, and they didn't kiss. But Guerra himself has already stated that he kissed Kim and that he doesn't regret it. Anyway, luckily Eminem had unloaded the gun and hit Guerra several times with the butt of the weapon until someone broke up the fight and took the gun away. Eminem was sentenced to 2 years of probation, and the $100,000 compensation for John Guerra was dropped. The rapper could have been arrested but avoided jail by claiming he didn't use the gun during the fight. The same argument he uses in 2 other tracks from the Eminem show, like Cat the Kiss Man.
Shut the fuck up! Did you bring that for?
Just shut up.
Fucking clip is empty. Don't point that at me. It's not even loaded.
And music, yes, for the moment.
You bullet too, Guerrero. That was a bitch that hit you.
By the way, in this track he changes the security guard's name because he was still forbidden to mention him by court order. It's worth remembering that Guerrera is the feminine form of guerrero in Spanish, so Eminem also took the opportunity to make fun of the guy. The fact is that everything that tried to stop Eminem just ended up giving him more fuel to write his lyrics. And just like it was with John Guerra, it was with Debbie Mathers' lawsuit. In the song Marshall Mathers, released in 2000, Eminem responded to the lawsuit by saying, "My mom's cow is suing me for $10 million. She must have asked for $1 for every pill I stole from her. Where does she think I got this habit from? All I had to do was go into her room and lift up the mattress." If Debbie's intention was to make Eminem stop attacking her, in his songs he just showed that he didn't care about that or her lawsuit. That's when Debbie decided to do something unbelievable, something that few people were foolish enough to even try to pray for. Today, she made a rap CD counterattacking Eminem. Debbie paid a duo of MCs called IDX and recorded a 2-track CD with them called Set the Record Straight, which means clearing some things up. The CD had lines like, "We have a problem, Marshall. In the last 2 years, something went very wrong. I was really happy about your success, but very disappointed by your betrayal." The real Marshall Mathers could stand up and take responsibility for his own actions, clearly using Eminem's own lyrics against him, which obviously made the rapper quite angry.
Till I grew up, now I blew up. It makes you sick to your stomach, doesn't it?
Until I grew up, became famous, and that disgusts you, doesn't it? Isn't that why you made that CD for me, Mom? To try to justify the way you treated me, Mom? When asked why she made the CD, Debbie replied, "So no one would twist my words, and so everyone knows that I'm not this terrible monster my son says I am." The diss track was a catastrophic flop, and the group IDX basically retired due to disability after that. And seeing that neither her lawsuit nor her CD managed to stop her son, Debbie decided to lower the lawsuit amount from $10 to $2 million, hoping to reach a settlement. But according to Eminem, he would rather pay $100,000 to each of his lawyers just to make sure his mother wouldn't get a single cent. Until on August 8, 2001, the judge finally,
proferiu sua sentença nesse caso.
And considering that 2 long years had passed since the beginning of a tiring and painful process, Debbie expected to receive a good amount of money. But that's not what happened. Out of the $10 million she had initially requested, Eminem was sentenced to pay only $25,000. Do you know what's more ironic? Out of those $25,023 were just to pay the lawyers, leaving Debbie to take home only $1,645.75. After the sentence, Eminem wrote the song "Cleanin' Out My Closet," where he appears to be burying his relationship with his mother. In fact, the two didn't speak to each other for years. But after Eminem went through some near-death experiences and started getting a little older, he began to look at his life from a different perspective. Since 2013, he hasn't performed this song at his shows anymore. And in that same year, Eminem released the song "Red Lights," where he apologizes to Debbie Mathers for taking this fight too far, declares his love for his mother, and finally forgives her. But when it comes to Eminem, we know that not all the feuds he gets into have a happy ending. On the contrary, some drag on for decades with attacks that have serious consequences for those involved. But looking on the bright side, they give us memorable tracks to enjoy as fans of the Slim Shady. Do you like acai? Well, here's another result of an epic feud with Mariah Carey, who didn't let it slide either. If you want to understand this beef, just click on this video. Thank you so much for staying with us, and I'll see you in the next video.